Why music and not other forms of art? I consider myself to be a musician, but I'm often involved with other disciplines. I collaborate a lot with people from other disciplines like theater, modern dance. I make music for movies. Currently, I'm also working as a sound designer and music composer for a computer game. So I'm very much involved with other forms of art, and I also try to open up my work for these other forms. For example, I organize bicycle expeditions in which like the journey already plays a role in the experience, or like even sound is then not the primary focus. It's more the expedition itself that forms the fundament, and sound plays an additional role. So I guess music is not always the primary thing in my work. Recently, I also organized a scooter expedition in which the audience would sit at the backs of scooters with teenagers, and they would listen to a radio play that would be influenced by the scooters. And you could say that the radio play was not even the most dominant thing in this form, because the experience of sitting at the back with of this scooter with this teenager and getting a tour through the city is the most dominant thing, and the radio play plays a significant role but not the most important role. So I guess I'm not always making music, but I'm very much interested in music and sound art, or whatever you want to call it, because it's real time, I guess, and because it's an abstract language. Yeah, I guess the real time and abstract. So it's an ideal, it's the ideal discipline also for improvisation, and I'm very much interested in the balance between improvisation and composition. But it's also, of course, because of my musical background. But I hope this kind of answers your question. What is for you the true meaning of music? I guess I can point back to my previous answer about music being real time and an abstract language. This real time character of music, the fact that a sound that is played immediately disappears and is gone, I guess, an important, the essence of music, that music immediately vanishes. So making a record is kind of like almost like a different art than making music live, because you don't emphasize the fact anymore that the music vanishes in the air. I find it a very difficult question. What is the true meaning of music? I guess it's like, for me, it's like Pierre Boulez said, like it's just music. In the end, it's just the organization of sound. When did you start to realize music was your career? I guess like 4 years ago, when I was 25 and did my first residency in Brussels at Nadine. I did a project back then with a Greek media artist. It was the first time, I guess, that I felt that I just came out of school, and I still felt a bit like a student, but then suddenly you get into this residency and you're considered to be an artist. So then I started to realize that, then it started to feel like the beginning of a career, more or less, that I was not feeling like a student anymore, basically. How could you describe your current musical direction and how it changed over the last years? I'm still composing music now and then for movies and for radio plays, but more and more I'm improvising. I'm very much interested in improvisation. So more and more improvisation forms my common practice. And furthermore, it's a translation of movement into sound that has been keeping me busy. The combination of songwriting and improvising is something that has been keeping me busy. But yeah, I guess improvisation is the main word here in every aspect, not only like improvising with all kinds of instruments and controllers, but also like improvising with your code just in front of a performance. It's become my practice to also like change things on the day itself. And so yeah, and even like when I compose for movies, I more and more first start to improvise. And what are you influenced by, especially when you write music? I guess I'm very much influenced by other music, also books that I read, the thoughts of other people, of writers, but also people with whom I had a good conversation. What kind of art, excluding music, fascinates you? Do you have any painters, writers, or books you particularly like? Literature really fascinates me. Movies, poetry. Yeah, there are a lot of theater, modern dance. Recently, I've been reading A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man of James Joyce. Joyce is definitely one of my favorite writers. I've been reading Ulysses, which is a very inspiring book, and very much I guess my music is somewhere also very much influenced by Joyce. Beckett, another writer, but especially also a playwright, is a writer that really fascinates me. I love the movies of David Cronenberg, Crash, Existence. I like the Italian writer Italo Calvino, especially his Invisible Cities. I think that's a marvelous book. David Mitchell with Cloud Atlas. Recently saw Fellini Satyricon, a very nice movie. What artist inspires you the most? Oh, that's a difficult one to pick just one. I guess then I would just have to say James Joyce, because his universe is like infinite. How does your creative process work? That really depends on the project, but when I would project it on the project I'm doing, the performance I'm doing at Sound and Vision, the creative process right now is performing, and then of course also rehearsing, and then going back to the drawing table and like keep on adjusting the sounds. And after every performance, normally I play with another musician. We talk about new sound ideas, but also new performance ideas. And then I adapt the code, the sound design, and we rehearse and talk again about how the sound could evolve. I'm also like working alone a lot in my room, just sound designing with Super Collider, and then connecting it via all kinds of sensors to objects, and then performing with it. So I guess you could say like first I'm coding, but I'm always coding to develop a performance. So first I'm like the programmer, the coder, who programs for the performer, and then I become that performer afterwards, and then I become the coder again, blah blah blah, like this. Yeah. What are you listening to lately? Do you often look for new artists and new music to listen to? Yeah, quite regularly. Always have these moments that I start to look for new artists, because then my music collection then needs a bit of new impulses, and then I start to look around. recently I've been listening to a German musician. He's quite famous, called Oval. Really love the directness of his music. He almost never uses you only hear seldom like a reverb and delay in it. It's another thing that I really hate when musicians just use like a hell of a lot of delay and reverb, so all the little irregularities get masked because of this. So I'm listening to Oval. I'm listening again. I've been listening to Bela Bartok. I've always been listening to Bela Bartok, but recently I've been doing that again. I've been listening to Otegre, Tim Hacker, Ben Frost, singer-songwriters like Defendra Banhart and Daniel Johnston. Really great band, Deerhoof. I'm always listening to Deerhoof. Bit of Xenakis. I guess that's more or less it. How is your next record going to be structured? Are there going to be any surprises, guests, or anything we might be interested about? Well, the upcoming record, I'm gonna do a record with Good Cop, Naughty Cop for the Enfant Terrible label based in the Netherlands. The special thing about this record is that it's going to be a cassette tape with an art object connected to it. So it's gonna be like a bicycle related art object. And I'm gonna do this record with Patrick Bossink, with whom I just did a performance in Paris, and that was really nice. So we've decided to do this record together. So yeah, I guess that's it.